Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Book It Now. I am your humble host, Q. I want to thank you all for joining me again this evening on this continued journey of empathy, growth, and understanding. Today we're going to jump right into it. We have a very special guest here with us. He is a world-renowned speaker, singer, author, and media personality. He was named one of the 5 top speakers in the world and Motivational Speaker of the Year. In 2005, he was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame, and in 2017, he was named one of the legends in public speaking and the speaking industry. He has a radio podcast on iHeartRadio and a Sirius XM radio show entitled Wealthy Ways, and he is also the author of several international best-selling books. I want to thank for coming on the show today and welcome to the show today, Dr. Willie Jolley. Thank you for joining us.
What's up, my
It's
man?
good to see you.
My man, this is a great young man, and I'm excited about being on this show with him and sharing some ideas with you that will help you to do more, to be more, to achieve more, and to make more money. So that's what we want them to do, don't we?
Goal, right?
We want them to get going. So I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you for joining us. But I do want to start for those who may be unfamiliar with you with a little bit about your background.
Okay.
Where you're from and maybe how you got started with things.
Well, I am from Washington, D.C. I'm a native Washingtonian, second generation actually.
Great
My
place.
mom was born in Washington and I was born in Washington. And I was for many years a musician in the Washington area, making my living singing jingles for Pizza Hut and making it great. And we work well together. News 4 and you. BET, Black Entertainment TV. So I sang jingles during the day, but I made a lot of my income, or majority actually of my income, singing at nightclubs. And I won the award for the Washington Area Music Association Whammy Award for Best Jazz Singer, Best Entertainer, a number of years. And was doing really good. I was making money. I was having fun. I had a nice little sports car, a nice house. I was doing okay. And man, I was grooving and moving. And then I had a setback. And I went in a nightclub one night. The club owner said, we love you guys, but we need a better return on investment. So we bought a karaoke machine. It's a lot cheaper than a band. And I was devastated because I'd worked so hard to build up their repertoire and their clientele. And I had worked hard to fill up their nightclub, made money for them, and I got fired because it was cheaper. And I realized in life that a lot of times you can have things happen to you that you have no control over. It's the economy, or it's a numbers game, or it's just bad timing. I don't know what it was, but I got fired, and then I had to decide what was I going to do. I had to figure out what I was going to do. I had 2 children, I had a wife, I had this car, I had this house. What I'm going to do now? And
What did you do?
I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system because they were looking for someone who had a background in music and arts and drama, and who also had a background in counseling. I had a degree in counseling. So I applied for the job. I got the job. It was with the Drug Prevention Office of the Washington, D.C. public schools. And as part of my job, I had to give little speeches to kids about staying away from drugs. And it was during that year I discovered...
What area is this? What time is it?
What you mean? What time period?
Well, what place were you in, and what time period was
But
it?
this was the early 90s.
Okay.
And Washington, D.C., and I was going around to schools in the Washington area, elementary, junior high, high schools, speaking to kids and talking to them about staying away from drugs. And it was then I caught my voice. I found my meaning. I discovered my purpose. I found what I was born to do. I loved speaking to these kids, and it just exploded. And from the Washington area, I started getting invitation to Prince George's County schools, and then to Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, and one after another, these school systems started saying, you were recommended highly by our friends that you should come and speak for our students, and it continued to grow. And I started speaking in more and more schools, first locally, then regionally, then nationally, then internationally. And then I started getting invitations by the teachers to come and speak for their groups. And then someone in the teachers group would say, can you come to our church? and I'd go to the church, and someone in the church would say, "Hey, I like that message. Can you come to my company?"
Yeah.
And it continued to grow. And then one day I'm speaking in a hotel, and Les Brown, the great motivational speaker,
Brown.
heard me speak and invited me to be on tour with him and Gladys Knight. And I went on tour with them. They got me on radio. They introduced me to radio people. Got a little 1-minute motivational message, and it got popular. And for many years, you heard me on.
Do you still remember that message?
Oh, it's a daily show. Every day it's a different message.
Okay,
Here's one of the ones that people would like. Every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up.
That's true.
And knows it must run faster than the fastest lion, or it will be killed and eaten. Also, every morning in Africa, a lion wakes up and knows it must outrun the slowest gazelle, or it will starve to death.
That's true.
So it does not matter whether you are a lion or a gazelle. When the sun comes up, you better be running. Am I right about it? So I would tell these little 1-minute messages that people would write down and email us. I first started at a small radio station. Then Donnie Simpson had heard about it and invited me to be on with him. And then when he stopped doing radio for a little while, I went over to WHUR. I was there for a number of years, which led to Sirius XM, and then national radio with Sirius, as well as syndicated radio. And I'm still at Sirius and doing new radio syndicated with Rejoice Musical Soul Food.
That's awesome.
And that led to a book publisher hearing me on the radio, calling my office saying, "I heard you on the radio. I liked your ideas. I'd like to offer you an opportunity to write a book." And I wrote a book. My first one was It Only Takes a Minute, Change Your Life. Became a national bestseller. Then A Setback Set Up for a Comeback became an international bestseller. Then turned setbacks into greenbacks. Then Chicken Soup for the Soul. Then my new marriage book with my wifey is called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. That's blowing up. And this is my latest book. Came out a couple weeks ago, An Attitude of Excellence. How to get the best from yourself, your team, and your organization. And so books started popping. Then I did a PBS special. Then I did another PBS special. Then things started growing. I got on tour with Les Brown and Gladys Knight, and it just exploded. And then I got on the Get Motivated tour. And as you had told them earlier, named one of the top 5 speakers in the world in 1999, inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame in 2005, and then named a legend of the speaking industry last year. And it's all because, Quentin, I had a setback. I got fired. And so my message to your viewers, some of you are going through some tough times. Some of you have lost your jobs. You've gone through what I call the devastating D's, one of the devastating D's of life. You've gotten downsized.
One.
You got a diagnosis.
Diagnosis, 2.
You've got a divorce.
Divorce, 3.
You've got a death of a loved one.
Death, certainly.
Or you've got a disaster in your life, like a hurricane or tornado or whatever. And your life has been turned upside down.
Right.
And many people are ready to give up, throw in the towel, and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Just stop trying. But I want to share with you that I had a D. I had a devastating D. I got downsized from the only thing I knew to do, which was to sing. But that setback was the impetus for the rest of my life being the best of my life. And if I hadn't had that, I wouldn't be here with you now doing this interview.
Right.
So I'm saying to all of you who are watching, don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't get discouraged. Don't get depressed. Don't stop. Be positive and know that the best is yet to come if you're willing to stay on the path to your best and greatest you.
Amen.
Come on now.
Amen.
All right, so that is what that's my story in a brief synopsis. And now I go around the world giving motivational speeches to major Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies. Last week I was in Cleveland, Ohio. The week before that I was in Toronto. The week before that I was in Dallas. And so I get to speak at major companies. Then because of the marriage book, we're doing marriage seminars. This Friday I'm in Cambridge at the Hyatt for a big marriage seminar,
yeah.
and then for a church, and then that Sunday morning I speak at the church for their worship here in the Washington area, Elder Kevin Matthews for his new church. And so I get to speak at the corporate groups during the week, and then do churches or marriage events during the weekend, and I get to travel with my wife, and we together.
That's beautiful.
And it's wonderful. We're having a ball. So we're making love, making money, and making it last, and having fun.
Great.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's what I do now, and also the radio. And one other thing we're doing is, I'm very excited. We want to help some other people to become speakers. This is a bustling, multi-billion, but billion-dollar industry where I tell you this not to impress anybody, but to show you what's possible. I was working for the Washington, D.C. public school system.
Okay.
I mentioned that before I started my speaking business. I was making $25,700 a year working for the school system.
Right.
I told you I was in Toronto a couple weeks ago. And I made more money in 1 hour speaking in Toronto for a real estate conference than I made in 1 year working for the school system. Wow. So I want to say to people, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry where you can really make a lot of money if you know how to do it.
Right.
So
we have a clip of you doing what you do in Dallas, actually.
Oh, great.
So why don't
before I do that, I want to tell people, if you're interested in getting in this industry, I have my annual Speakers Boot Camp the weekend before Thanksgiving, once a year here in Washington. So if you're interested, go to jollyrichspeaking.com so you can be part of it. Jollyrichspeaking.com. Okay, go ahead and go play that clip from me in Dallas.
In Dallas, addressing a group of, looks like smaller Fortune 100. Give them some of your best words.
Get fired up, folks. Fasten your seatbelt. It's coming your way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Willie Jolley. Cool. And I'm honored to say I'm a professional speaker. I speak to young people, to colleges, corporations, trade associations around the world about helping you come back and turn your setbacks and comebacks with the attitude of excellence. Now, the first question I'm going to answer for you is one I know you're already asking. Yes, Willie Jolley is my real name. I'm honored to be here. How many of you know we've been in a challenging time here with the economy, not only here in America, but around the world for the last couple of years? And how many of you are ready for a comeback? Come on. Are you ready? Y'all got to let me know. Are you ready? All right, see, we got to get a little energy in here. And I want to say to those who are here and those across the world, millions who are tuning in, it's time for a comeback. Today I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about turning setbacks into comebacks with an attitude of excellence. Turning setbacks, 5 simple steps for 5-star success. Now, one of the folks I help to do that for is a little company you might have heard of called Ford Motor Company. In 2006, I got a call one day from Ford Motor Company. They had a new CEO. His name was Alan Mulally, brilliant, brilliant man, who had come in with a great team, and they had a plan that they've developed to turn Ford around, because Ford was struggling. They'd gone from 25% market share to 15% market share. And if they didn't make a change quickly, they were going to be out of business. Alan Mulally started working, but one of the first things he wanted to do was to stabilize the workforce and get the workforce stabilized and changed. So he gave a generous offer to those who had been working there, some of them as long as 50 years, to take a buyout. But not many people were taking it. Imagine that you worked for Ford for all of your life. Your father worked for Ford and your grandfather worked for Ford. They didn't want to take the buyout. After a few months of trying to offer this buyout, one day I got a call from Ford. They said, one of our people in our executive suite read your book, A Setback Set Up for a Comeback, and heard that you've helped companies to make comebacks. We'd like you to help us in an effort we're doing. We want you to help us to get this buyout to our people. And I said, I'd be happy to do it. But I said, I don't want to talk to them, though, about taking the buyout. I'd rather talk to them about living their dreams. I'll tell them how I was a nightclub singer who got fired
and replaced by a karaoke machine. And how I was broke, busted, and disgusted. But I made up my mind that in America, if you have a dream and you're willing to work hard on that dream, you can live your dreams. They said, we'd be happy to have you share that message. And for 6 weeks, I went around the country every day in a different city, doing sometimes 2 plants a day every day. And the night before Thanksgiving, 2006, I did my last program. Flew home that night on the last thing smoking in Washington, D.C. The next day was Thanksgiving, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday was the buyout day. They had to make a decision that Monday. Tuesday, they tabulated the results, and on Wednesday, I got a call first thing in the morning from the Detroit Free Press. They said, Mr. Jolley, we just want to let you know that 38,000 people took the buyout. 25,000 was their goal, but 35,000 took the buyout. They said, what did you tell them? I said, it's about living your dream in America. And that if America, you can turn your setbacks into comebacks. They then had me go and do all the television spots for the internal television message about an attitude of excellence that they would play throughout the plants during the day. And as you all know, in 2009, Ford was the only one of the big three who did not take a government bailout. And in 2010, they've had $2 billion quarters where they've had a profit. What was the secret to turning setbacks into comebacks? The secret was a simple thing that I learned over the years by speaking to high-end organizations, that there are 5 areas that all leading-edge organizations consistently have in their pool of talent. 5 areas. First, leadership development. Developing leaders at every level of the organization, from top to bottom, mid-managers, managers, those who answer the phones. Everywhere you find a leader who's being developed. Number 2 is change management. Seeing that change is not the enemy. Change is an ally. All progress is the result of change. Number 3, team building. Creating world-class teams. If you can think like a team and work like a team, you can win like a team. Number 4, creating wow customer service, where you don't just do good customer service or even really good customer service, but you do wow. You wow your customer. You got to wow your customer. And then a winning attitude. Your attitude definitely determines your altitude. Develop a winning attitude in every part of your life. Because those who have a positive winning attitude win more. But I put it in 5 simple steps so that you could get them and walk away with them. How many want those 5 simple steps? Here they go. Step number 1, wake up and dream. Everybody say, wake up and dream. Now, this sounds like an oxymoron. How do you wake up and dream? When I was finishing my book, I sent the book to the publisher, and it was ready to be printed. And the day it was going to be printed, I got an email from a friend. It was a quote by T.E. Lawrence that said, all men dream, but not equally. Those that dream at night in the dusty recesses of their minds awaken to find that it was just vanity. But those that dream by day are the dangerous ones, for they dream with their eyes open, and they make their dreams come true. What are your dreams? What are the goals? Scripture says, without a vision, a people perish, but with a vision, a people will flourish. What's your vision? What do you see for your future? Number 2, you got to show up. Everybody say show up. Woody Allen said 80% of success is simply showing up. And I believe he was right. I believe you got to show up. You got to show up with your stuff. Show up engaged. Show up excited. Show up and do more than you're expected to do. Go further than you're expected to go. Give more than you're expected to give. I've learned something in these 20 years of speaking. I've learned that if you do more than you're paid to do, one day you'll be paid more for what you do. Am I right about it? You got to do more. See, I learned that you got to show up. See, if you just show up, you get the opportunities in life 80% of the time. Now, if you show up on time, you get the opportunities 85% of the time. Show up on time with a plan, you get the opportunities 90% of the time. Show up on time with a plan and implement that plan, you get the opportunities 95% of the time. Show up on time with a plan and implement and execute that plan with excellence. You get the opportunities 100% of the time. You just got to keep showing up. My son just graduated from Howard University Law School. He's doing very well now. But he used to go to William and Mary, and he struggled. His first year, they almost put him out. Third year, he came home, honor roll. I was so excited. I gave him a big hug and a kiss. I said, son, what was the secret to your success? He said, Dad, I listened to your tapes and showed up to all my classes. Everybody repeat after me. If you want to go up, then you got to show up. Number 3, you got to stand up. You got to stand up and become a leader of one. Before you can lead many, you must be able to lead oneself. I love this little quote. He who knows not, and knows not that he knows not, but thinks that he knows, is a fool. Leave him alone. Now he who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. But he who knows, but knows not that he knows, is asleep. Wake him. Oh, but he who knows and knows what he knows and uses what he knows is a leader. Follow him. You got to make a commitment to be a leader. What does that take? You got to make a commitment to keep stepping up to the plate and swinging for the fences. Every day, whenever you do what you do, I don't care what it is you do. Wherever you are, looking and listening across the web or here in the audience, whatever you do, I'm encouraging you every day to swing for the fences. Understanding when you swing for the fences, sometimes you'll miss. But it's okay. Did you know Hank Aaron had twice as many strikeouts as he had home runs? But he kept swinging for the fences. Most times he missed. But when he hit it, he knocked it out the park. When it's your shot to do what you do, swing for the fences. And number 5, understand that your life is going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some setback moments, but keep swinging and keep striving, because change is going to happen in your life. Stuff is going to happen. Setbacks are going to happen. But a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. You're looking at a guy who was a nightclub singer who got fired and replaced by a karaoke machine, but who made up his mind that he was going to change his life, started speaking to young people about staying away from drugs. And from there, the teachers would say, can you come to my teachers association? And then someone there would say, could you come to my church? And then someone there would say, could you come to my company? And it continued to grow. And then Les Brown, the great motivational speaker, heard about me and invited me to be on tour with him and his wife at that time, Gladys Knight. And that allowed me to get a radio show, and the radio show got syndicated. And then it allowed me to get on TV with CBS television and PBS. And that allowed me to get a book deal. And the book became a bestseller. And then the second one became a bestseller. And then one day, Toastmasters International called and said, you've been named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world for this year. Former winners include Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Nelson Mandela. I said, you sure you got the right person? My name is Willie Jolley. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a dream and you're willing to work hard and pursue excellence, stuff is going to happen, but a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. Change is good when your attitude is great, so you must always be working on your attitude. When stuff happens, find a way to see something positive. And last but not least is think up. Make up your mind to win. That's me and Dr. Stephen Covey. We did a tour together in Australia, and he talks about win-win. If you want to win more in life, serve more others first. If you serve more, you'll win more. Think up. Make up your mind that it's okay to win. I close with this. One day I was struggling as a new speaker. Had no books, no tapes, no videos, nothing. Someone invited me to speak in Orlando, Florida. I went to give the speech. They gave me a standing ovation and then gave me the check. I looked at the check and I got a thrill. I put the check in my pocket, went on my way to the airport. On the way home, I pulled that check out a second time because I wanted that thrill one more time. But then I realized that money was already allocated. It was gone. Anybody got your check and before you get home, it's gone? Anybody ever been there? I started having a pity party. This gentleman across the aisle struck up a conversation. He must have sensed I was struggling. He said, young man, how old do you think I am? I studied him. Sir, I think you're about 60. He took off his glasses, looked me dead in my eye. He said, young man, I'm 88 years old. I'm 88, and my best is yet to come. In that moment, everything changed, because an 88-year-old man could have the optimism to believe that his best days were in front of him and not behind him. What did I have to whine and cry and complain about? And I went home and I got busy. And I started making sales calls. And if people say no, I'd say next. And they say, I'm not interested. I say, you're not the right one. And 20 years have gone by. I've been inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame, named one of the top 5 speakers in the world, best-selling books, TV and radio, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. And I came here today to Ted, to all those across the web, to say to you, without a question in my mind, with all the changes and challenges and difficulties we faced as a country, I'm saying to you without a question in my mind that our best is yet to come. And your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Wow. Just all the energy that you give, and I see that message of just getting up and showing up is very important, you know, throughout your speeches and a lot of your writing too.
Yeah.
Is that, you know, is that something you feel that people don't?
Well, I don't think people take full advantage of their gifts.
Right.
They think the gifts are just, oh, no big deal, where they are really a big deal.
Yeah.
And when you use your gifts and you act on them, then things start to happen. Many times we talk to people and they say, well, I want to make more money. They run out and they buy a lottery ticket. And it's interesting. It's the story of,
Lottery ticket.
it reminds me of the story of, let's see, which book is it in? It's in this It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life book. About an African farmer in the South African region of Africa, which is diamond rich, who heard about the diamond trade and people becoming millionaires from these diamonds that they found.
Right.
So he said, you know what, this farm business is too slow. I want to become a millionaire. I'm going to sell the farm. Put an ad in the paper. Great deal. Farm for sale. Well, the first guy who comes by to look at the farm, he said, you want the farm? He said, well, I wasn't planning to buy it. I was coming to look. He said, how much money you got? He said, I only got that. He said, I'll take it. I'm out of here. And he sold the farm for pennies on the dollar. And then he went off to look for diamonds.
Right.
He searched for diamonds for years and years and years, never finding one diamond. In complete despair, after many years of depressed living and poverty, he went to the edge of the highest cliff and threw himself over. Ended his life.
Wow.
Back at the farm, the guy who had bought it for pennies on the dollar was one day walking across a little waterbed. And he stumped his toe on a rock, and it glistened. He picked it up and was covered with mud. He said, what is this little glisten piece? And he wipes it off, and it's a beautiful diamond. He takes it home and puts it on the mantelpiece. A few weeks later, one of his friends came by to visit and walked in his living room and said, how you doing? And he took out his monocle, he looked and he examined, he said, that's a diamond.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest diamonds I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the guy said, oh, really? Well, since
Just
I found
around.
that one, I found lots of them around here. There are bunches of them around here. They're covered with mud. Sometimes they're buried in ground, but there are lots of them. I got a whole box of those pretty rocks. And the moral of the story is that there's wealth in your own backyard.
Right.
You don't really have to go seeking it on a lottery ticket if you will find the diamonds inside of you. And that's what I want to encourage people to do.
Right.
Take advantage of the gifts they have, but they don't take advantage of them. Someone once said that when time was chosen to place your purpose and your gifts, the wise people of the world said, where should we put these so that people will not take it for granted because they're so easy? Well, let's put them on the top of the highest mountain. Oh no, they'll get up there to get it. They'll get it. They'll put it at the bottom of the deepest sea. No, they'll find it there. Where should you place it that they won't find it? Inside of them. They'll never look inside of them. And that's what I want to do. So that's what I do with my books. Whether it's It Only Takes a Minute. This is a book that I have found so many people around the world have said, I read this book and it transformed my thinking. Gave me a new perspective about the possibilities.
Right.
Or somebody who's going through something, a setback, and got a setback set up for a comeback. Or somebody who was broke, busted, disgusted, and wanted to turn their life around, so they got to turn setbacks into greenbacks. So the people I interviewed, the 7 principles that I interviewed from people who were broke, busted, some of them bankrupt, who became millionaires and billionaires because they used these principles. Or chicken soup for the soul when you're going through the toughest moments. I lost my mother, my brother, and father-in-law in 30 days in 2003. And I wrote about how God gave me some miraculous grace that took away the grief. And that story went on to be in Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's a CD comes with it, and it's one of the most powerful programs I've ever done. So that, or people who want to grow their business by growing themselves and growing their people, is the attitude of excellence. All my books, all my programs, all people who want a better relationship,
Right.
who want a better marriage. You know that 50% of Americans who get married divorce. And then statistics show that of the 50% that remain, 40% of them are miserable. They just stay in a marriage for the children or for economic reasons. So we want people to learn some principles, some little things. Yeah, they fall in love initially, but they fall out of love. Why? Because little stuff. They don't have systems on how to deal with money or how to deal with their children. Little systems that we've discovered, we put in the book that have saved marriages. So all of these things are here to try and help people. And then they bring me in to speak, and I just expound on and expand on those concepts.
Yeah. And you speak a lot about people not knowing the goal that's within them, right?
Right.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's fear, complacency, doubt, or just ignorance?
No, I actually think it's a matter of following the leader. Okay. Most people follow the leader. So here's what everybody else is doing.
Right.
So I guess that's what I'll do. Rather than being the outlier, the person who says, I'm going to start a company. I'm going to start an online TV show.
Right.
I'm going to write a book where everybody else says, why is this? Books, schmooks. Go ahead. Being willing to not become part of the people who live lives of quiet desperation. It's very important that you watch who you hang out with.
Absolutely.
Because who you hang out with is who you will become. You hang out with 9 losers, you're going to be number 10. But you hang out with 9 winners, people who don't talk about things or talk about people, but they're talking about ideas.
Right.
Those are people I like to hang around with. And so if you start hanging around with people who are going places, who are ambitious, who are excited about life, who are pursuing their best lives, then you start to change. So your input determines your output. So that's why I'm encouraged about you, this show, and what you're doing. You're a mover shaker because you're a young man doing it. I'm impressed. So that's why people who tend to do, why do they do it? Well, sometimes it's complacency.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's ignorance. Sometimes it's lack of motivation.
Right.
But I think it's following the leader. And the Bible says if you follow the blind, you both end up in a ditch, in the gutter. So.
But for you, you tell your story of having that setback, being the musician, and being replaced by a machine.
Yes.
Right. So I feel like for a lot of people, for them that story is I still want to be a singer. But you found your way and you found your voice speaking to those kids.
Yes.
Right? So for someone who may, I want to be a singer, I enjoyed playing the jazz, doing jazz, being recognized for it, and now I'm finding light somewhere else.
Well, how do you get to that? Well, I believe some people need to pursue singing because that's what they were made to do.
Right.
That's what they were born to do. And that's because they had some setback doesn't mean they had to stop. They just have to pursue their goals and dreams. When I got to that point in the singing business, I'd done what I wanted to do there. And I was really staying there because it was convenient.
Okay.
It was comfortable. But this gave me a new opportunity. This door opened, and I at least explored it. And that's what I want to encourage people. Explore. Look at new opportunities. Look for new positions. Try new areas of interest. And develop yourself. You should be multifaceted. You should be reading different types of books and looking at different types of opportunities. You might get in one business and then veer off and have another part of you that does something else. Like a friend of mine, he is a successful speaker, but he has a restaurant chain.
Mm-hmm.
After he got successful in speaking, he had a restaurant chain. Or another friend bought some hotels. And he said, I like doing both. Just like you said, you got your MBA, your degree in business administration,
Mm-hmm.
but you said, I want to do TV.
Mm-hmm.
And you explored that. And you're
Right.
doing good.
Thank you.
All right, you're good at it.
Thank you.
So I'm encouraging people, wherever you are, to decide to grow you.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to grow your future and your finances is to start by growing yourself. The best way to grow your organization and the profitability of your organization is to grow the people who work in the organization. So let me give away some gifts here.
Yeah.
Can I give some gifts?
Sure.
For anybody who wants to improve their marriage or their relationship. And there's a chapter in here for people who are not yet married, one chapter for single people on how to choose the right person. Go to jollymarriage.com. You can use that, yeah. jollymarriage.com. For people who are interested in growing their businesses and themselves, go to Attitude of Excellence, attitudeofexcellence.com. Both places will give you free chapters from the respective books. And then for those who just want to pursue what's next for me, look at the possibilities. Go to williejolly.com/gift. williejolly.com/gift, where you'll get some ebooks, some audios, some of my XM shows, some of the people I've interviewed, some of my music, things that will lift your spirits and inspire you to be open to what's next in your life.
And talking about what's next,
Yes.
right? So I do want to circle back briefly.
Okay.
You get the job, working for the government, speaking to the kids.
School system, yeah.
For the school system, excuse
Yeah.
me. And you mentioned that you found your voice.
Yes.
Do you remember what that moment was like when you're leaving singing and you're trying this new venture and...
So, I gave my first speech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know nothing about speaking at this point.
Right.
They just say, you got to give a speech.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know if I'm going to be good. But I do know that when I would sing in nightclubs,
Mm-hmm.
people would clap.
Right.
So I decided at the end of my speech, I'm going with what I got. I know I do good. I don't know nothing about the speaking thing.
Yeah.
I might bomb, but I can sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that. I can hold that trophy. So I gave the speech, and at the end I sang. I sang The Impossible Dream. And people got up on their feet clapping. Now I'm thinking it's because of the singing. But afterwards, people came up and said, oh, that was so great. Can I get your notes on your speech?
Really?
I said, what?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was the music. And they were impressed and inspired by the words I gave and the message I gave. So I said, maybe there's something here. That's when I knew there was something beyond the singing. That if I pursued this and I worked on it and worked on me and struggled through it.
Right.
I believe you must struggle through every great thing you do. You got to struggle through it.
Absolutely.
And so Michael Jordan was cut from the basketball team in high school, but he struggled through becoming a better basketball player so he could make the team, and went on to become the best basketball team player, arguably, that ever lived. Arguably. I know you young folks, there's LeBron. I know. And look here, I don't have, I won't argue on that because LeBron is just awesome.
Yeah.
But let's look at Michael Jordan and the fact that he was cut. And he was a loser for 7 seasons with the Chicago Bulls before he found the place that he was supposed to be with Phil Jackson. So I'm saying to everybody, I want you to pursue your goals and dreams. Now, let's give them some help in doing this. For many of the people who are watching might say, well, I don't know what I want to do.
Right.
I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure. I don't know. So I'm going to give you an exercise that will help you focus And I want you to do this before midnight, either tonight or whatever day you watch
Should have
it.
time tonight.
All right, great. Imagine you went to the doctor. Doctor said, I got good news and I got bad news. Bad news. You got 1 year to live. You have a very rare illness, and it's rare because it guarantees when you're going to die. So 365 days from today, 1 year from today, you're going to die. Not a day earlier, not a day later. No one else knows the date they're going to die, but you're going to know that because it's a rare illness. But let me give you the good news. It's a rare illness. It also guarantees that anything you attempt in the next 364 days, you will achieve. It's impossible to fail. What 10 things would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Write those on a piece of paper.
It's a good exercise.
I want you to sit down today and say, if I couldn't fail, what would I go after? If I knew I couldn't fail, I only have a year to live. So I did that exercise. Let's see. 28 years ago, in a little hotel room in Nashville, Tennessee, where I was despondent, depressed, because I had just failed and been a complete failure at a big showcase I had. That I thought I was going to become a singing star. And it failed. I bombed. And I'm depressed. I flew down to Nashville, took all my little money in this little teeny weeny hotel room, and I said, finally, I heard about this exercise. I have been resistant to do it. I'm going to do it now because I'm pitiful. So if I couldn't fail, I had a year to live, what would I do? If I couldn't fail, maybe I'd give a speech. If I couldn't fail, maybe I'd write a book one day. If I couldn't fail, I'd love to do some television or radio. If I couldn't fail, I'd like to have my wife work for my company. If I couldn't fail, if I could just make $100,000 in a year, just $100,000, I'd be over the top.
These are all things
I wrote
that I know you've done. Are you getting?
If I couldn't, and I went through about 10 things.
Yeah.
And let me say, you're right. All of them, I have done all of them except one.
Okay.
I don't have my jet with my name on it yet.
Oh.
Yet.
Okay.
Okay. Give you another example. And this again, about the power of goals.
Okay.
In 2015, I was on the Get Motivated tour. I replaced Zig Ziglar on the Get Motivated tour. When he died, I replaced him. We were in Atlanta, in Buckhead at the mall.
Okay.
My wife and I were walking through the mall, and I saw for the first time anything I'd seen like this. I saw a Tesla automobile, a white Tesla automobile. I said, "Whoa, what is that?" And the sales guy came over and showed me some of the things. It's electric. It goes 250 miles on a charge. It's got a 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. It will come get you. It got auto driving. You can put it on auto drive and you can ride from here to New York and it'll drive itself. I mean, oh my God! So I took a picture. Of me pointing to this car, and I took that picture home. I took my camera home, blew it out, and printed out that picture. And I put one in my office. I put one in another place. I put them of me pointing at this car. Quentin, I got a Tesla outside. It's white.
Yeah.
And
very similar.
It's
same one.
Pretty much the same car. I mean, it's upgraded.
Yeah. Of course.
But and the reason I share that is show you the power of setting goals and vision. When you set it in your mind, this is the goal, and you set a vision for it. So what's your goal? If you can get that goal written out on that piece of paper, and you start to read it every day, do it for 30 days. Read that goals list every day for 30 days, your dreams, what you would do if you couldn't fail. Read it for 30 days, and get those visions in your mind. you'd be amazed how your life can change.
Well, how do people stay motivated? Because, you know, I've
Input determines output.
There it is.
All right, input
There it is.
determines output. Garbage in,
Garbage out.
garbage out. Good stuff in,
Good out.
good out, baby.
Good out.
Look, if you took a grape and you put some pressure on it and squeeze it, what's going to come out of it?
Grape juice.
If you take an orange and squeeze it, what's going to come out of it?
Orange juice.
If you take a negative person and squeeze them, what's going to come out?
I wouldn't know.
Negative. All right, negative. And that's what happens with most people. Life squeezes them and they go negative. That's why you got to fill yourself up with the pure, the powerful, the positive. So that when life squeezes you, which it's going to do,
Which it will do.
it will do. If you have not had a setback, keep living. When it squeezes you, that's why you need to have good stuff. It's, you know, there's an old saying, it's best to dig your well before you're thirsty. And it's
Absolutely.
best to fill up on good, positive information, growth, personal and professional development information before you need it.
Right.
Because one day you're going to need it.
Absolutely.
No question. So
Absolutely.
that's what I recommend. What do you do if your input determines your output?
And do you find that giving those, you know, those minute kind of talks really helps people with that?
You know, I am still impressed with people who stop me and say, I would listen to you every day on Channel 9.
Yep.
Or I'd see you every night. Or listen to WHR. That 1 minute message lifted my spirit for the day. Let me tell you how powerful it is, why it's so important. If you woke up this morning, it was rainy and cold and clammy
Like it
and
was.
dreary, what does your body want to do?
Sleep music.
Stay in bed, sleep. Now, if you wake up, sun is shining, the birds are singing, it's a beautiful, glorious day, you don't want to miss any of that day, right? So you pop up and say, oh, I got to get full advantage of that day. The same is true for your psyche.
Absolutely.
If you hear how many people got killed, how many fires there were, how many little children that got snatched, how bad life is, how bad the economy is, oh, woe is me, it puts a damper, a cloud over your thinking. But if you hear one of my motivational messages, that this is the day the Lord has made, let us rejoice and be glad in it, or the lion and gazelle, or you only have a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it, give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but your eternity is in it. Make the most of this minute. Get going. Let's go. It's your time. Now you hear that in the morning. It puts a sunshine in it. Let's go. Let's go get it. And so that's why those 1 minute. You can get my 1 minutes on Facebook. Or every Monday morning I send out my staff sends out an email. If you just send us an email and say, I want the 1 minute message. I want to get those 1 minute messages sent to me on Monday morning. Then we'll put you on the list.
And how do they do that?
They just send us an email at WJ at WillieJolley.com. WJ at WillieJolley.com. Now, I'm going to give one other thing. If you send me an email at WJ at WillieJolley.com, you can say, I want to be on the Monday morning message that gets a positive message. Also, if you put under that or put there also in that line, I am a friend of Quentin's. I'm a friend of Q. And I want a gift. We'll send you a digital gift.
Send you a gift.
How you like that?
That would be great.
All right, I'll send you a digital gift. You got to say, I'm a friend of Q.
I'm a friend of Q.
All right,
Remember,
and I want the
love
gift.
you.
That's right. He love you, and you want that gift, I'll send it to you.
And I think we have a thought of the day video
Okay.
that I want to share with them as well.
All right.
Just going deeper into some of these motivational speaking.
Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and we want to share with you a thought of the day. You know, I had recently shared a video online about my experience of starting my company on June the 1st, 1991. I was sharing with my staff, though, what set me up to make that decision to leave my job. See, I was working a good government job, and I hated it. I hated it because the people were so negative. They were toxic. And every time I would come up with a new idea about, hey, let's try this, they said, no, that's not going to work. And hey, how about this? No, that's not going to work. And every time I would try something new, they would cut me off on my knees. And I got discouraged. In fact, some days I'd have to go home to my mother's house and lay down at lunch because I was so sick. But one day, after working all year, not having a break, not having a vacation, not having any time off, I went into my boss one day and said, look, a friend of mine has offered me and my wife an opportunity to go with them to their vacation spot for a few days, just relax. And I'd like to do that. And so I'd like to take a couple of days off. She said, no. I said, but I want to just take a few days off. I've worked all year. She said, you have sick leave, but you don't have any annual leave. It's not part of your job package. I said, really? I said, come on, can I use my sick? No. You have to call in every day for your sick leave, day by day. No. And I was crushed. But I made up in my mind what I was going to do. So every day I'd get up and I'd call and say I was sick. But I was sick, mentally sick. And I came back after that job, and after that vacation, and I told my boss, I said, you know what? I realized that this is not a good fit for me, and I need to leave. And I left, and I remember the day. It was May the 31st. I walked out of there. My coworkers, they laughed at me, said, you'll be back. You'll be back. You fool, you're leaving your good government job to go become a speaker. You're going to starve. You're going to need every free meal you can get. And in fact, they took me to lunch that day saying I need every free meal I could get. But that next day, June the 1st, which was a Saturday, I set up my little company with a card table, a legal pad, phone book, and a touch-tone phone. But I had one other thing. I had a dream. And I set out on that dream, June the 1st, 1991. And I'm grateful that in these years that have gone by, I've been inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame, named one of the top 5 speakers, best-selling books, television, radio. I've literally traveled around the world. I've been named one of the top 5 leadership speakers, and I've just had a ball making a difference. There's something I learned in this process. One, that sometimes you've got to take a stand. I love this little quote. It said, as long as you stand up, no one can ride your back, so stand up. Stand up and make a decision. The other thing I learned, the thought of the day is this, that which is before you and that which is behind you can never compare with that which God has placed in you. There's something special inside of you. You were born with greatness, the seeds of greatness inside of you. But you've got to be willing to water and fertilize and develop those seeds and make the most of the gifts God has given you. So I'm encouraging you to live your dreams. That's my thought of the day, that sometimes you have to make a decision. And you can if you think you can. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day. God bless you.
That was the thought of the day. And I have to ask before we let you go, how do you keep yourself motivated as your job is to
motivate others?
Motivate others, you know, and you are a person, you know, you have feelings, thoughts, emotions too. How do you keep yourself motivated?
Well, one thing is my faith.
Okay.
Powerful part of my success is my faith. When I wrote my book, A Setback, Set Up for a Comeback, I sent the manuscript to the publisher, big New York publisher. And they called a week later and said, oh, we love this book, but why do you got to talk about God so much in this book? Oh man, we thought this was going to be a success book. Why are you talking about God? And I told him very simply, I said, you know what? I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm just telling people my story.
Right.
And here's the success story I have to share. What brought me through the tough time is my faith in God. So me trying to take God out of my success is like trying to take wet out of water. Hot out of fire. I don't know how you can do it. So I just tell my story. So my faith is a major part. The second major part of it is my remembering what I've been through, where I came from. When I would get weak, tired, kind of discouraged, I'd remember about that job I had. I'd remember about getting fired and that kick in the gut. And I said, I'm never going to let someone else control my destiny ever again. And I'd be fired up. So faith and focus on some ideas and principles that will keep you fired up, and then it's the follow through. That I want some goals and dreams. So I make a point every day to work on my goals and dreams. What are my goals? What am I working for? Why am I getting out of bed? What are your goals? That's why you do that exercise and read it every day, because then you say, oh, I want to buy my mom a house. I want to send them on vacation. They've been so good to me. Hint, hint. All right, Mom, you know what I'm saying? And Dad, by the way, this young man has two of the most wonderful parents anybody could have. He won the parent lottery.
That's true.
He won the parent lottery. His mom, Alexis, is one of the sweetest women I've ever met. His dad, Felix Yeoman, is legendary and one of the nicest fellas you'll ever meet. So he won the lottery with parents. So those are the things I do. Okay, and I focus on those things, and that's why I'm successful, and I stay successful, and I stay fired up, and I'm grateful. That's the last part of it.
Grateful.
Be grateful.
Always.
Be grateful.
Gratitude. Please
Be
and
grateful.
thank yous.
Grateful. Please, thank you, Lord. Look, in the setback book there's a little piece that says about worrying. Why worry?
Right.
When all is said and done, there are only two things to worry about. Either you're well or you're sick. Now, if you're well, you really got nothing to worry about. But if you're sick, you only got two things to worry about. That you're either going to get well or you're going to die. Now, if you get well, you got nothing to worry about. And if you die, you only got two things to worry about. You either go to heaven or you go to hell. Now, if you go to heaven, hey, you got nothing to worry about. And if you go to hell, well, it's too late to worry now anyway. So why worry? In other words, be grateful for everything.
Yeah.
And be grateful for every day. Because someone made plans to be here today, and they didn't wake up. So every day I wake up, I say, I got another one, Lord. No matter what the problems are, we can get through this. Because I got another child.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And where can people pick up your
All right, I
books,
want to give
your-
everybody a
your
total
CDs?
to a couple things. Let's go back over what we got. If you want a chapter from the marriage book, go to jollymarriage.com. Get the free marriage chapter. And on Monday nights at 9 o'clock on Facebook Live, we do a Happily Married Monday, where you can send your questions in and we'll answer them. If you want a chapter on how to grow your business and grow your people and grow your future, go to attitudeofexcellence.com. Attitudeofexcellence.com. You can go there and get any bookstore, Amazon. If you like the book, put a review. And follow me on Twitter and all of the other places, Facebook, IG, The Real Willie Jolley on IG, as well as LinkedIn. Now, if you want my products, you can get individuals on Amazon. You can get, but if you want them all and you want to really get blown up, go to get the kit. Go to williejolly.com/billionaire. williejolly.com/billionaire. There's a special offer, a special offering there where you can get the kit in a box for a great price. So go there, buy the box. You can get the small bag or you can get the box. Get the box. That's where the bomb digging. All my DVDs, PBS specials, music, all my books, all my multi-packs, stuff to fire you up. And it's a great Christmas gift for you can go through it and then give some of the things to some of your relatives who keep asking you for money. Quentin, Q, you are the man.
Thank you. I appreciate you for joining us today.
Man, I'm honored to be here.
I'm honored.
You got great things in front of you.
Thank
And
you.
all of you, I say this, follow your dream, wherever it leads.
Absolutely.
Don't be distracted by less worthy needs. Shelter it, nourish it, help it to grow. Hold your dream deep, down deep where dreams grow. Follow your dream, pursue it with haste. Life is too precious, too fleeting to waste. Be faithful, be loyal, and all the day through, the dream that you follow will keep coming true. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
I think
I'm
that's
out.
a great note. A great note to end on. And like I always tell you, if no one has told you that they love you today, remember that I do, and I always will. The polls close in an hour and a half. If you have not voted, go vote.
Go vote.
If you have not voted, go vote.
Go vote.
You have an hour and a half. It's worth the wait.
Yes.
I love you. Have a good evening.
All right.